first half of the show, we're going to run through a bit of the level 1 syllabus, give you a few of the little tips and rider skill, what things we worked on, some stuff to take away as well. And then second half, we're going to let Neil off the leash and have a little bit of a play, do some skids and some slides as well, a bit of entertainment for us. So, to help me on the show today, Neil is one of our instructors in South Wales. He has done Dakar 1.5 times. He finished it this year. Give you a big round of applause for Mr. Neil Hall.
Hello everyone. Yeah, we couldn't bring 50,000 acre playground in Wales here, but we've got enough to show you what we can do and what we teach you to do off-road skills. Now, it's a good place to start with the bike on its side. If you Google how to pick up a motorbike, there's thousands of informational videos, but off-road skills, we do it the easiest way. And we're off-road orientated, so you can't choose where you can have a little lie down with your bike. You might be in a stream, up a hill, down a hill. You might the bike might not be nicely, but it might be up somewhere horrible. So we get up between two wheels as much as we can. Turn the engine off, that takes away any dramas that could happen. From here, we're going to put the bars to a lock. I'm going to get the wheel facing up to the sky, bars to a lock. That gives us a solid platform to work with, so we're not battling the balance of the bike. Bit of leverage, the furthest point of the handlebar, we're going to take hold of that, and then we're going to use our legs. We don't really want to use our core or our arms, we use the big strong leg muscles. So as I lift, I'm going to look forward, I'm going to step forward as I lift, because if you don't step forward, you end up lifting the bike up, and at a certain point, only using your arms, and then it's really hard. So as I take hold, I take a step forward, and look forward.
No good. Put the bike back down, Neil. You made that look way too easy. You're a strong bloke. So, just to prove the point, this isn't about strength, it's about technique.
You want me to hold the microphone?
I'm gonna stand a little bit further away. Just with one hand behind your back. See if you can do it one-handed.
It is definitely technique. We get this all the time. But if you're doing the right technique and you walk in the direction of the bike as you lift, it's your legs, not your arms. That's the dodgy arm as well.
That's the back arm. That's the half of that arm.
We won't talk about that.
So we don't just want to be dropping the bikes all the time. One of the things I will point out that on the schools, we don't charge for any damage. So if you do drop it, it's no drama. When we've all finished laughing, we'll help you pick it up and we'll carry on. It's not a problem. We do a few things to get a little bit more confidence, a little bit more swagger around the bike. So Neil, can you just show us the balance of the bike exercise and how that helps improve your confidence with the bike?
This exercise is really important. It's a bit of a confidence builder and a bit of an icebreaker because it's one of the first things to do. We see it so many times when someone's going to walk around their own bike, they hug it, they go close, and every move you make goes through the bike. So you're not only balancing the bike, you're battling the bike's balance for yourself as well. By stepping away, having that handlebars on lock, so there's a solid platform, they're actually weightless. Yeah, up on two wheels, they don't weigh anything, so you can just hold it with one finger. If you're away from the bike and the worst can happen, you lose balance, you can catch it, and if it goes the other way, you can counteract it with our body as well. So it's a really good exercise to get you to do it. I totally understand, if you just bought a brand new RT, you're not going to do this in your garage, but come along and join us in Wales and do it on our bikes.
So moving on from that, all of the things we do on level 1 off-road skills, we try and build it up stage at a time. So the next thing we do, we start working on a few touch control exercises. And there's one exercise called walking with the bike. And each touch control, because if you haven't got touch control, it becomes running with the bike, then running after the bike, and then lesson 1, picking the bike up again. So it's a real good exercise, just practicing feeling that fine clutch control, a little bit of use of the torque of the engine. And it's something we use on a few of our trips as well, because if you've got to cross a big river crossing, you don't know what's in the bottom of it, you're always better off jumping off, walking the bike through, and then jumping back on the other side. So Neil's going to jump back on now, he doesn't like walking too far. Gets lazy. So as Neil rides around now, if you're coming from off-road, on-road world into off-road, the biggest difference when you step to off-road is that people are riding around standing up on the bikes, standing up on the pegs. And the thing is, the reason for that isn't just because it looks cool, it's also about steering. You steer the bike through the foot pegs, not through the handlebars here.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of reasons why we stand up, and getting in the right stood up position is very important. The first one is vision. We can see so much more when we're stood up. We can look, we're adventure bike riders, we want to look around, we want to see the world. We don't want to be looking at our immediate foreground. So by standing up, it means we can plan our route better, we can ride a bit faster because we can react to things quicker. And also now when you see me riding around, I'm starting to move around the bike. When we're off-road, we don't have to put so much input in the steering and handlebars. It's pretty much all through our foot peg pressure. And moving the bike using foot peg pressure, we can only do this efficiently if we're stood up. The other reason is these bikes have great suspension, but combined with our arms and legs, you can really start using these bikes and taking them off-road in some challenging environments.
And this is such a small, simple looking thing, the standing position, but the better job you do of getting in a good, solid, stable standing position, the easier the rest of off-road riding becomes. When you hit that first patch of soft sand or gravel, a good riding position makes it much, much easier to do. So, when we move on from the standing position, we start doing a little bit of slalom, a few tight turns, a bit of vision, a bit of clutch control, a bit of slow control comes into it, and then we move on to our circle and a square exercise. And this is again, just pushing the limits a little bit, seeing how tight you can turn a bike using the standing position, even when you're off-road on gravelly uneven terrain.
Yeah, we're just taking that one notch further and making you do a real tight turn. Now you see now, because I'm at slow speed, to make the bike turn tight, I have to lean the bike in. Now all my weight now is on the outside foot peg. There's none on the inside foot peg, I'm over-exaggerated there. But the more you can put weight on that outside, the more you can lean. Means the tighter you can turn. So yeah, the more weight you do, the tighter. And can I unwind myself now?
Don't get too
Step
busy.
in and have your point there.
So, again, this is stuff, can we practice it on our bikes where there's not a big audience around it, it's much, much less stressful, but it's good to have a little push and just see how far you can go with those tight turns. So moving on, we then start looking at a few braking exercises. First of all, we put the bikes into what's called Enduro Pro mode, which lets you have ABS just on the front wheel, it lets you not on the rear wheel. I can make all sorts of excuses as to why that's an important thing to learn to do, but really, it's just good fun. It's very fun watching back tyres, just like doing skids on your BMX as a kid. Neil still hasn't grown out of it. Moving on from the back brake, we start looking at front brake. And our front brake exercise is about building a bit of fitness for our brake lever, and also seeing just how hard you can brake on gravel.
Yeah, definitely. The front brake's so important. There's a lot of people who are a bit scared to use that front brake on gravel or high-speed corners, but the exercises we do just make you get a little bit more in tune with the progressiveness of that front brake and being able to use it. So the exercise with the clutch is out, the throttle is a little bit on, and we're just nice and even pressure onto the front wheel, onto the front brake, making the front lock up now and again. And yeah, that's the goal, to get really good on the front brake.
So that kind of is the morning of day one, level one, all these nice riding skills, but then what we really want to do, as you see in the video, is get out around that big 4,000 acre park, start riding some of the terrain we've got. First thing we tackle is downhills. How to ride downhills safely, we've got some how steep they are.
So the first technique we use is engine braking only. So we go down a nice gentle slope, no clutch, no brakes, and the beauty of these big capacity adventure bikes is the engine braking is really efficient even on long downhill slopes. The next one, if you want to go that a little bit slower, is engine braking with a little bit of front brake. That just takes the edge off it. Obviously the clutch is out, so we've got to be aware of not putting too much brake on because you'll stall the engine. The next one is when you want to really push how slow you can go and how controlled you can go down a gnarlier hill. With the clutch in, all that weight's on the front wheel, so we're just using our front brake and going down some really long, nice, gnarlier hills.
From downhills, obviously, logically, the next thing is uphills. Now with uphills, the thing people are worried about with an uphill is getting onto a hill, not making it to the top, and then there's that horrible sickening feeling when you haven't quite made it, as demonstrated by Neil. So the first thing we teach you is what to do in this situation. How to stop on a hill, turn around safely, get back to the bottom so you can have a run up and have one go.
So yeah, from here it's pretty much, you want to get off that clutch, because if you put the clutch in and just rely on the front brake, you'll end up on a steep hill sliding backwards. But with the clutch out, in gear, it's not going to take you anywhere, it's solid, no brakes on, and you can relax. In here, we're going to turn the bike around on the hill and have another go. 9 times out of 10, it's easier to turn around, have another go, than try and do hill starts, wear yourself out, and potentially be stuck there. So it's much easier to get off the bike, turn the bike around using the clutch. So we're going to move the handlebars, we're going to go nice and smoothly back with the clutch. The smoother you can go, the better it is. We're not racing, we don't have to rush it. And also, you might see here, I'm leaning the bike into myself, leaning it into the hill. Because if the worst happens, it just goes into the side of the hill. It's not a problem. If it goes the other way, it's a long way to pick the bike up. So from here, we're just going to go back, nice and smooth, on the clutch, until we either can't go back any further, or there's a ditch, or obviously the ground will dictate all of this. If we can't go back any further from here, we can then go onto the front wheel, having the clutch out, the front brake on, and leaning the bike into the hill. We can go full lock left, full lock right on the bars, and the front wheel will move around. It goes about half a tyre width. Off-road on a downhill, it will go even more.
So once we worked out what to do when it goes wrong, we start attacking a few steeper hills. And as you saw there when he gets onto the hill and then tries to open the throttle, the bike's just going to wheel spin, or if it does a grip, it's going to end up in the Spirit of GS stand out there. So what we want to do with uphill is build the momentum on the flat. So drive hard across the flat and then let that momentum carry you on the way.
Exactly that. So we want to be straight to the obstacle. It might not just be a little hill, it might be a nice long 100-metre climb, but all the principles are still the same. You drive in a straight line at the bottom, where you've got grip, where you've got straight line, drive enough so you can get over the obstacle and up here safely, so then you can react to what's next, whether it be a left, a right, or stop.
I think we need to prove the point here. This time, when you drive up there, I want you to kill the engine, and without using the brakes, I want you to time your momentum so that you roll to a halt just in front of me.
See? Even smoother here. So let drive, engines off, up over the obstacle, under control. You do trust me.
A little bit of brakes in, nice and round. So that kind of is all the stuff we do on our level 1 course. We do that over 2 days. We start with a group of 30, 35 riders, and we break it down into smaller groups so you get much more attention from your instructor. Sorry. Neil, rein it in. Okay. Calm down. Wait. Neil's excited now because the next thing we're going to talk about is our level 2 foundation, level 2 and level 3 courses. So once we've got you hooked on off-road, we start pushing things a little bit more, taking the bikes in more difficult situations, still always fine-tuning those riding skills. But we also do a few fun exercises as well. One of them is called Spinter. It's how to turn your bike around in a cafe car park and look cooler than everyone else there.
Well, only if he goes right, Chris. That's the only problem. So on level 2, level 3, we don't actually teach you to do it off the bike and on the bike. It's much easier to learn off the bike, much easier to learn on our bikes as well. So from here, we're going to turn it around in as tight a space as possible. So the bars are going to turn. You see now the bike's lens on me. It's not too much where I can't hold it, and we shouldn't take too much energy. It should just be the lens on my thigh there. I'm going to turn the inside foot to the direction I want to go. Head and shoulders have also got to look where I want to go. From there, about a little bit just before I want to drive away, I'm going to tilt the bike even more, and then be a little bit more aggressive than usual. And I set and forget the throttle a little bit higher than usual. So the throttle's set, I drop it a little bit. As the bike starts to come around, I take a step with my foot, and the bike will follow me around. So a little bit more, a little bit of acceleration, off the clutch. I take a step forward, and the bike follows you around nicely. That's off the bike. And then exactly the same sort of principle on the bike. I turn the bars, turn my head and shoulders, my inside foot points in the direction I want to go. I tilt the bike over as much as I'm comfortable, a little bit of drive, and the bike will come around nicely.
Definitely worth. First time you try that, it's definitely worth being in a forest with no one watching. not outside the cafe the first time round. So as well as the Spinter, one of our favourite things to do with the GS is teach you guys to brake slide and power slide. The end goal is that you're going to be able to slide into a forward on the back rail, and come out on the front with a nice big grip, looking awesome. Neil, can you talk us through how we break that exercise down?
So yeah, the first bit of the skid turn is actually being able to do the skid in a straight line, just like we do on level 1. It's all progressive. So, as you're going to drive, clutch comes in, skid, and I drop that inside head and shoulder, inside leg, to the point, to the direction I want to go, and the bike will come along nicely. Now, we don't just want to do a skid in a general direction, we want to get really accurate. So I'm going to see how close I can get to this, how close I can get to Chris without hurting him. That's Chris.
I'm going to stand up because there is
This is day 5 of the show, so there's no dents in that yet.
There is a time.
Is the tyre mark? Is that alright?
Yeah, that's close enough, thank you very much.
So yeah, it's about getting really accurate on the brakes, on the back brake in particular. So the next bit of the skid turn is then joining them up to make it a power slide. Now, again, broken up into steps. It's usually morning of day 1 on level 3. You start doing the straight line skids, get that really good. Then into the skid turn, and that last bit, once the skid turn has come to an end, you really stop moving. If you stand yourself up, unweight the back wheel and drive out of it, you should be able to power slide out. So the skid turn is normal, and then that last bit, getting a bit aggressive on the throttle and driving out. And there's a bit of a schoolboy area there. I've left the traction control on. If I'm in Enduro Pro and the traction control's on, it lets you slide a little bit, but not a lot to make it really impressive. So let's traction control's off now. Let's have another go. Woohoo! It's grippy, right? That was rubbish. Let me do it again. It's really grippy and it's good fun. Keeps me on toes. There you go. That was good.
Got to be worth a round of applause. That's not a lot of room there, so the decision wide open here. But I just want to make the point right now that if you're in the crowd and you've never done off-road before, we've taken people who've never ridden off-road, and over the course of a few years, a number of courses, they've gone from level 1 all the way through to level 3, where we're teaching them to power slide these bikes. So it is achievable, whatever your age. Now, for the next little exercise, I'm going to invite, bless him. I'm going to invite to the stage a man who's done 10 Dakar rallies. He was also voted the world's worst pillion recently. Mr. Simon Bailey is the founder of the school. So one of the courses we do is called Adventure Travel Training. We do a load of different exercises, but the best thing about it, you can bring your pillion along and learn to ride off-road with a passenger. It's great marriage counselling and it's a lot of fun. Neil took us through it.
Do you know, he's just talking to me about a trip that we did in Australia where I saw a crocodile eat a fish. We did a trip across the top of Savannah Way. 21 days. It's amazing. Anyway, where were we? Adventure Travel Training. One of the only people, are we the only ones who do it? I think we are. So where you can bring a pillion with you. Now, sat down, yeah, it's okay. You can go off-road a little bit. The real way to explore tour is to be able to stand up and enjoy the trip together. So we're going to stand up. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and up. So it takes a little bit of communication. The pillion has just got to look pretty. Stand there, look pretty. The sort of rider can move around the bike. They've got to hold on as well. And they don't really have to put any input into the foot pegs. I can still move around the bike. Let's go up on stage, so come on. I've got the concentrating face on. If I crash with a boss on, that's never good, is it? So the reason why he's the worst pillion ever is he keeps on trying to throw me off the stage by putting pressure on them foot pegs. Remember we talked about foot peg pressure? Yeah, he can do it as well back there.
I really like hearing the nerves in Neil's voice there, just because he knows the consequence of dropping the boss. Round of applause there. I'm not sure whether it's for Neil or Simon, maybe both of them. Just to finish off the show then, Neil's going to give a little demonstration of another level 3 lesson, which is the Preload Exercise. It's basically how to body on the 1250 GS. It's good for clearing gullies, jumping over ruts. Neil, talk us through Preload. Give us a little demonstration.
So yeah, it's a really good exercise where you're unweighting the bike, so you're not clattering over things like a rut sleeper here. We're just unweighting the bike so we can get over things a little bit more nicely so we don't clatter the bike around. It's all about technique, using your arms, your legs, combined with a little bit of acceleration, drive. You can pop over things, pop up over things, down things. It becomes real fun when you start playing around. Is that it?
You're done, Neil. Let's have a little round of applause for Neil Hawker and Simon Bailey. Guys, if you need any more about the off-road skills courses, fitnesses, we'll be over there ready to tell you how good Wales is. Or go and speak to one of the girls on the stand. They've all got iPads, they've got full details about the courses. Thanks very much for watching. Our next demonstration will be in about 40 minutes' time.